Hi, I'm Caden McConnell, co-founder of Cookware. I myself am a plant-based cook and I run a catering business here in the Byron Shire on the east coast of Australia on Bundjalung country. I have a lot of experience cooking in clay. My cooking journey really started with cooking in clay pots about 8 to 10 years ago, and within my catering business and within my home kitchen, clay is the main element in which we cook in. There's only clay, some stone cookware and cast iron cookware in my kitchen, and I'm here to answer your questions. Yeah, so we currently have 3 different styles of clay pots, each from a different country. This one being from Malaysia, this one from Lombok, this one from Colombia, and they're all made with a local clay from that area. The Malaysian one is made from a purified, filtered natural clay that's dug in the mountain areas. Same with the Lombok clay pot. It's actually made from a local clay from the mountains and the sand, a black sand from the coastal area that's mixed together. And the Colombian pot are 2 local clays mixed together, they say, the masculine clay and the feminine clay, which once fired brings together the strength and flexibility to create a vessel that can be cooked in and withstand the heat of fire or flame. I entirely believe that clay pots are the best cooking option, and in saying that I refer back to the older ways of clay pot being the original cooking vessel. That's literally just earth. It's mud or clay mixed with water and then cooked in fire. So it contains all the natural minerals of the earth. There's no chemicals added, there's nothing added to make them strong or stable. They're literally just, a pure substance that we walk on, and clay being one of the most abundant materials on the earth, I believe that they're healthier than metal and non-stick. And in saying that, clay offers, I guess, a sense of purity or an alkalinity that it can infiltrate into the food. And unlike metal and some other materials, it's non-reactive. So if you are cooking acidic foods with things like tomato or yogurt or lemon, it won't infiltrate a metallic flavour into the food as it would if you were cooking in steel or metal. Yeah, so the Malaysian village pot does not require any seasoning. It has a natural glaze inside, so it's somewhat non-stick, and as soon as you pull it out of the box, it is ready to cook in. The Lombok pot, the Sasak range, does require seasoning, as well as the oven pot from Colombia. The instructions are in the care guide, which was placed in the box when you receive your pot. Also, we have a link below with some more information on the importance of seasoning and how to season your pot. And once the pot is seasoned, then you are ready to cook. So traditionally, clay pots would have been made to be cooked over fire or charcoal. Personally, I have a lot of experience cooking with them over fire, charcoal, gas, stove, and in the oven. They can be cooked on all those heat sources. If you do require to cook them on an electric stovetop or induction, they will need a heat diffuser, which is a thin piece of metal you can find online. That goes between the pot and the heat source, which just helps them from cracking. And in saying that, induction works with magnets, so you actually need something metal in order to cook on induction. But in speaking to electric stovetop, the harshness of the heat requires a heat diffuser just to spread the heat evenly around the pot. Yeah, so hairline cracking on the bottom of your pot is very normal, and it's a natural part of the aging process. I understand that when you first see this little crack, you may be scared. You might think that the pot's going to explode or you've broken it. I really reiterate, not worrying. The pot will never explode, and the cracks are very normal. If your pot is leaking, then that's an issue. we will refer to a link below, and we have more videos on healing and sealing leaking pots. When you continue to cook in your pot, even if there are hairline cracks, cooking with starches, things like rice or lentils, will naturally actually seal the cracks. And I've been cooking with these pots for at least 7 years in my home kitchen, in my business, my catering business. These pots go in the back of my car all packed up. They've been lugged down the east coast of Australia and they're still intact. And yeah, this is one to really reiterate that the cracking on the clay pots is very normal. So this is a pot that I've had for 7 years. You can see all the cracking in the bottom, and if you look on the inside, there's lots of cracking. This is all superficial. These cracks have been there for probably 6.5, 7 years, and I'm still cooking in this pot. So please don't worry. If your pot is leaking, follow the directions to heal them, and if it continues to leak, send us an email and we'll give you some advice. Yeah, so again, reiterating that the hairline cracks is a natural part of the aging process, but when you are heating the clay pot, if you do stick to heating it on a very low heat to begin with, and over many minutes slowly bringing the heat up so that the heat can travel evenly within the pot. The cracking often, it comes from thermal shock, so heat will pull in a certain area of the pot as opposed to spreading evenly. Another way to really care for your pot is to only use them for food with a liquid inside and avoid any frying. So if you were making soup, for instance, you would put everything you need for the soup in the pot with the liquid, the stock or the coconut milk. And if there's onions or garlic or anything that needs to be sauteed, you do that in a separate pan, perhaps a cast iron pan. And when it's ready, you tip it into the clay pot. The water in the pot, or the moisture content, will help to distribute the heat evenly. And in that case, cracking can be avoided. If your pot is leaking, we have a very simple natural process on healing and sealing those cracks and the leaking. We have a detailed demonstration which we have linked below, and that will give you everything you need in order to move forward and fix the leaks. If it does persist, please email us and we'll get back to you with what to do next. Cleaning your clay pots. Again, I'm going to speak to the difference in the pots. The Malaysian village pot being glazed, you can use steel wool. In saying that, all this clay on the outside and the lid is porous, so I don't recommend using any harsh chemicals. I always recommend using an eco detergent. You can use bicarb soda or lemon or vinegar, and wash them by hand as you would a normal pot. I don't recommend putting your pots in the dishwasher. The Sasak clay pots and the Ovum clay pots are porous, so they're going to absorb what you're putting in them. So I often just use an eco detergent with a gentle abrasive pad, which might be made from coconut husk, and simply scrub them off with warm water, hot water, wash that out and leave them to dry. If food has burnt or stuck to the bottom, soak your pot overnight and it should be soft in the morning in order to scrub it clean. I recommend not using your dishwasher to clean the clay pots, and washing them by hand is the preferred way. In saying that, the dishwasher cycles tend to be very long, using chemical detergents, and a clay pot can be washed in a maximum of 1 minute. That way it just keeps the clay pot intact. Dishwasher and the harshness is going to wear away your clay pot over time, so we highly recommend washing your clay pot by hand. The lifespan of a clay pot is truly up to you and the way you cook with it, the way you handle it. Obviously it's clay, so if you drop the clay pot it's going to smash. My personal experience is I've been connected more so to the Malaysian village pot for about 7 years, and the pots I have, when I first got them, I'm still cooking with, and that is a lot of use. That's cooking for thousands of people, hundreds of times, running a catering business, cooking at home. So very sturdy. So if handled with care, if handled with caution and presence, these clay pots can last many years, maybe even a lifetime. It will never be unusable. It will always have another use. Return back to the earth. If your pot is leaking a lot, you've tried all the methods and still it's not working, or you've chipped the bottom or something has happened, we would upcycle the pot into a garden pot. You could drill a hole in the bottom, put a plant in it. There's many other uses in which it can be. It just needs your creativity outside of the kitchen. Yeah, so you would cook in a clay pot as you would any other casserole dish. Personally, I cook everything in the clay pots. I only have clay in my kitchen and cast iron fry pans, so I don't have any stainless steel at home. I'm very seasoned and conditioned in cooking in clay, so I use them for everything: rice, curries, dals, soups, stews, vegetable dishes, really anything. Yes, I have a personal cookbook. It's called Plants, Clay, Fire, Bring the Earth into Your Kitchen, and there is over 80 recipes in there, and a lot of that cooking refers to clay pot cooking. And also through this Quiet Earth platform and YouTube channel and our journal and our website, we plan to upload recipes, videos, cooking demonstrations, and provide the education that you need in order to make a connection with clay pot cooking and bring it into your life and feel comfortable. Yes, so we recommend before storing your clay pot away that you really let it dry. Um, Store it in an area with good ventilation, because these pots are clay. If they are stored away wet in a damp area with the lid on, mold can grow. So I recommend storing them out so you can see them. They're a beautiful product. They're a beautiful thing to look at and to have the presence of in your kitchen. A good thing is to store them with the lid ajar so that they can breathe. And then, be really sure to let them dry before storing them away. If mold does grow, not to worry. As you would anything else, you can just clean it out with vinegar or bicarb soda, scrub it all back, give it a good wash and leave it to dry, and your pot is good to go. Always heat the clay slowly. We never put it onto a super high heat. Once clay is hot, it will retain its heat. So it may take longer to heat up than a stainless steel pot, but it will retain its heat for much longer. So what we do, we never take a pot if it's in the fridge with food in it and put it straight on the stove to heat up. We want it to come back to room temperature first. And in saying that, if your pot is hot and it's emptied and you've served your meal, you always let it cool right down before cleaning it. It's the sudden temperature changes, so putting cool water in a hot pot or putting hot water in a cool pot, that can shock the pot and cause cracking.